everybody, and a very warm welcome to One Hub Racing Season 25, round number 7. We're almost approaching the halfway point of the season, and we head to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, a familiar place for all of our drivers. It's because where we hosted qualifying night at the beginning of the season. So it's time to see how far they've come since pre-season and whether their pace has improved or not. My name is Jess Ball, one of your commentators for this evening, as per usual. And joining me again, as per usual, is Mr. Mike Edwards. Mike, how you doing?
I am doing absolutely fantastic, Jess. Looking forward to what should be a very interesting race. I mean, as you said, the drivers know this track very well, as it was featured in qualifying. And this race is usually a bit of a sleeper race. Strategy is always a big key factor on this race, and you do get some good action as well from time to time.
Yeah, you do. And we've seen in the P2 race that weather could play something into the mix as well. So the adaptive weather system has been in place for quite a while at One Hub Racing, and it's one of our favourite features in the league. And the qualifying session this evening, it's going to be dry, nice and clear qualifying, so we get to see what people's pace is like in the dry and qualifying. But in the race, it's going to be a different story. It's going to start off with light cloud, it's going to go to overcast, and then it's going to go to intermediate, wet conditions. It may not be enough inters, depending on if we get any safety cars or not. And with the weather set to approximate, they need to go on their gut feeling as to whether it's going to be the right tyres, right conditions for them and stuff like that. So that is our weather, which means we get our first wet-affected race of the season, apart from sprint races, of course, which is what I'm looking forward to make it less of a sleeper, but more about strategy.
Yeah, I mean, if the weather does come into effect, that is going to be very interesting. As you said, it could not go to intermediates. They're going to have to play it by ear and just feel what the track is going to be like out there. Obviously, if it is going to be intermediates, they're going to have to make that switch over at the most opportune point, because how much time you can lose by just going one lap too early or one lap too late when making that crossover choice is massive.
It is definitely massive, and that is something that we're going to be watching for the night, so make sure you keep us locked at One Hub Racing. But last week, we were at Brazil, and Brazil was quite interesting because we had a sprint race. It was wet in the sprint, and then it was dry in the race. But looking at your results then, 94 points Tony leads to Lukey's 81 points. Lukey moved up to second due to his penalties getting removed. 73 points for Atslot in third. J. Cole in fourth, another fifth place. He likes his fifth places, doesn't he? Casper in fifth, not quite the way he wanted to be, but he's looking for a good result here tonight. Callum Unarmed in sixth, a DNF for him last time out. Matteo in seventh. He's not here tonight again, so I don't know why he's keep missing races, but there we go. Nick Van Ape, Jake in ninth. He finished third last week, which is a good result for him. And then we got Colin Entity Arnold picking up his first race win of the season in 13th. And we got Waitsy, Konzo, Papa Squanch, Larkin, Samster, Kieran, Malvin, Leroy, and Barry making his return to the league after his long-awaited break, and he had his honeymoon. So great to see him back. And we got a new driver to the league of Craggy. I think that's how you say it in the Kick Sauber. So we might as well head to the qualifying session, because qualifying has just started. Everyone else is on their outlap. Now, most people, when I spoke to them earlier, they prefer the track because the chicane at the last corner has been removed. But there's some people that don't like it. A majority of people like it. But in terms of your opinions, Mike, how do you find the track?
Obviously, with the chicane now being removed, it's a lot more free-flowing for that final sector, and it's much more enjoyable to drive as compared to before. Obviously, the wideness of the track, especially going through turn 10, also another key change that's happened in recent cycles, and it's allowed for more opportunities in towards turn 10, because before in the past, such a short DRS straight didn't really open up too much for overtaking opportunities down at turn 10. But now, with it being a lot wider there, far more swooping left-hander through turn 10, it does provide a lot more action, and it's going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting, and we may as well go on board with a lap now. The first driver to set a lap time based out on all the drivers is ELT Arnold, last week's race winner around Brazil, heading towards turn number 4. Follow the track as close as you can. Aim to the right as you head towards turn number 5. A really tricky traction zone. A lot of drivers found things difficult earlier on. A little kick of turn 6 and now heading towards turn number 7, and then a slight kink in turn number 8. He takes it very, very nicely indeed in 5th. 6th gear through turn number 9. You don't really need to lift through there. You can go full power if you want, but again, it depends on your setup. Turn number 10. What gear does he take it in? He takes it in 3rd, and then 4th gear on entry to turn 12, and then make sure that you keep it on there on the exit. And now the chicane, saying bye-bye and going straight in towards New Holland. Some people take it in 7th, but most people, I would prefer to take it in 6th. Up to the line for Arnold, 1:12.4. And we're seeing lap times being made from Casper. The times are not showing up for me if they're faster or not, which is very, very confusing. But Tony came across the line in 11th, so I think he's going to go again. And yeah, those are our lap times so far.
I'm currently on board with Tony. He is going for another run. I believe. I mean, he is flashing red on his fuel indicator, so maybe he'll come into the pits at the end of this lap. Who knows? But he was 8 tenths up in sector 1, showing that he's actually pushing the car.
Yep, he is pushing on. It was a little bit of a bump in the kink in towards turn 10, but now in towards turn number 12. Very nicely indeed as he follows the car through. And he's got a few more corners to go. He's been looking very quick in practice right now. Probably one of the favourites to win at this race. He's going up to the line. It's a very decent banker lap. 1:11.7. The two Hassids showing that they made the right things today. And Jake is in 3rd. And our new debutant of Craggy in 4th place. So great stuff for him at the moment. Malvin is next across the line, but he invalidated. J. Cole, he's got just the final sets to go as he exits turn number 10. 51.166 for him. I don't know how that compares towards other drivers, but we'll see what he can do. Mr. Consistent driver he is. He always likes those top 5, top 6 positions. And he usually gets the strategy right. So I think another driver to keep an eye on tonight. Up to the line he goes, and it's going to be a 1:12.5 for him, which puts him into P11, Mike Edwards.
Yep, P11 there for J. Cole, and obviously he's going to be looking at that lap time thinking that I can get more out of this lap later into the session. But a very good banker to have down nice and early. Obviously, very similar situation right now as to what we had in Singapore a few weeks ago, where it's a Haas front row lockout as it currently stands.
Yeah, it is. It is a similar situation, which means that they like these sort of high downforce circuits. It's where I think two of them shine. And we do remember in Singapore, Casper won that race from the lead. And with Tony, he had a few issues, but still managed to get some decent points. I believe he took his engine penalty there as well, so he was climbing his way up through the field. Malvin now, he's going to go up to the line to finish his run. He's going to get a bit of a tow from the driver in front. But only P13 for him, but still quite tidy for him. Konzo just about to start his run. So your order at the moment, with 11 minutes and 30 to go. Tony in P1, Casper 2nd, Jake 3rd, Craggy in 4th, Nick in 5th, Arnold in P6, Callum Unarmed in P7. That's your top 7 at the moment. And with how short this track is, hopefully the drivers remembered to go on the softer allocation, because they can do 4 runs. I tried it in the P2 tier. 4 runs are possible as long as you go out straight away. So we will expect to see people going out again and again very quickly, as we're seeing about 5-6 drivers doing so. As we're seeing, I think Jake about to start his run on his 2nd set of the soft tyres.
Yeah, and interesting as well, the only driver not on a set of the softs was Entity, and he's done 3 laps on the mediums. Do you think that may be down to lack of practice and just want to get some track time out there running, or do you think there's a bit more strategy involved from Entity?
Well, maybe Entity forgotten to pick the softer option, or maybe, yes, he just wants to use this as practice. And with it being a lobby restart as well, they can just get a little bit of a feel for the track. And to be fair, a 1:13.2 on the mediums is pretty tidy. So expect maybe some good things from Entity in the race. He did get driver of the day last week. Oh, what happened, Mike? Someone's binned it with one of the Astons.
No, it was Nick. Mercedes sideways in the wall, front wing off. She's going into the gravel off track right now.
Oh, so it was him. So I think one of the Astons passed him. That was probably why. But that means he has to dive in the pits. I think he will abort his run then. But let's stay on board with Jake then. He's been come up on leaps and bounds since he rejoined the league. It's been a long time before this season since he's been a part of One Hub Racing and has so far produced some really decent results. Let's see how he could do around here as he dives it into the pits, as I just said that. Never mind.
Axlock 2 times up though. Axlock 2 times up as he's flying to the line now, and he goes up into P4.
P4 for Axlock. To be honest, his setup when I was doing it earlier looked very good. So I'd just like to say thank you, Axelot, for that one. And he was called to the rivalries with Tony this week. And they were asked by the media that things were starting to hot up with them as we get towards the business end of the season. And they were asked, after an incident last time out in Brazil, would you guys be able to keep things clean, or do you anticipate more hard racing and potential incidents? As Tony's on his lap now, we may as well speak about his answer. I actually found Tony's answer quite funny, but actually a very good point. He said he won't be answering this question as Axelot is no longer in P2 in the standings. He thinks that Lukey is his rival now. Now that is interesting. Now it all could change throughout the season, and what Axelot said, he thought the incident was the racing incident, and he couldn't care less about Tony. He always raced clean with him, and it will not change anything about my racing. I don't even think he has any rivals at this point, as I doubt anyone can challenge him on pace. So Tony thinks Luke is his rival. Axelot thinks Tony doesn't have any rivals. I think that's kind of like a rivalry in itself, as Tony's about to enter the pit lane.
Yeah, that's interesting. Right there from both Tony's answer as well as Axelot's. So, I mean, granted with Axelot, obviously Tony's pace and he's showing respect there. And I think for Tony, the way he's looking at this is whoever's the closest to me, that's my rival, which is not a bad way to look at things.
It is not a bad way. To be honest, that's how I treat rivalries sometimes. Whoever is closest to me in the championship, that's my rival. And I think Tony has the right approach to it. Lukey has been the more consistent driver. He's improved on pace. I feel like the game has suited him in a way as well. So I will have to agree with Tony in that respect. We've got more drivers finishing off their second runs in qualifying with just under 7 minutes to go of this session. And speaking of Lukey, actually, he was called to the drivers' press conference this week. Let's go on board with Lukey. There we go. So he is in a nosebleed height of P2 in the championship. And we already said about Lukey's consistency. And the media thinks that he stands a very good chance. And they were asked, if you look at the remaining tracks on the calendar, where do you feel you could potentially gain points on Tony? And how confident are you of bridging that gap? And he said, there's no track I could gain points on Tony. He's a class above the rest of us. The only chance I have to take any points out of him is if he makes a mistake, and even then it'll be extremely difficult. And Tony making mistakes is a little bit rare these days. He tends to like these type of tracks which have higher downforce, and the majority of those are coming up on the calendar. Arno, by the way, just came across the line in P10. But I think that's the common theme. People think they can't beat Tony, but it has shown this season Tony can make mistakes, even though it's little and far between. So it's not over for Lukey at this stage.
Absolutely not. And obviously, we've seen that a few times recently as well. Tony being caught in a couple of incidents now, which has affected him. Of course, Singapore, where he got caught in an instance, and I believe as well he also has DNF'd quite recently, as I was looking at the previous races, and
he had an incident with Axelot last week.
Yeah, so I was having a look to see if he DNF'd from her.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Tony did DNF last week from it, and it was an NFA. So I think those two are going to keep an eye on each other on track, I would say. But like I was saying earlier, they've got their own rivals to think about. Whereas Atslot thinks Tony doesn't have any rivals. Waitsy goes up to the line to complete his lap. He goes P9. More people coming across the line. Nick find about a tenth or two in the middle sector. This looks very tidy for the Mercedes driver. Looking to have a clean race this evening as he slots himself into P6. As we got, I think, we've got Nick in the pits. We've got Bear making his return to One Up Racing. He makes his way into the pits as well. I think that's what majority of drivers are going to be doing right now, as I think we can see Arnold's probably going to be doing the same. But here comes Axelot, the driver sitting P3 in the standings. A 1:11 to beat, but only goes forward for 1:12.0, but still 4 attempts in separating himself and the two Hazards. And we also got Cashman, his teammate, in P1. So we got like a Haas/McLaren sandwich right now. I think that's the story of the season. The battle between the Hasses and the McLaren for the constructors as well. If we have time, we'll go through the constructors later on in the broadcast as well. But I think those are the two teams to beat at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, McLarens have been in fine form. Same with the Haas pair, and obviously the Mercedes have always been pretty consistent as well. Obviously, Colin and Nick beforehand, and of course Malvin jumping in from Singapore onwards. He's definitely jumped into that seat from Colin. He's picked up right where he's left off and being close with his teammate.
Yeah, so Mercedes could still be in there as well, but we know that the drivers have been told to keep it clean out there because last week things got a little bit interesting in the stewards' room. There was a lot of incidents, not the race we would have liked to have seen from the P1 tier, and there were people that pretty much capitalised on other people's mistakes, but we want to see some great battles without any crashes. We want to see battles where they give each other room, but they take a few risks as well. So hopefully we can see that for more of our drivers. They have been warned, but a lot of drivers luckily agree as Casper goes up to the line with a 1:11.608. Colin said in the chat that we thought that Jake's lap was good. Casper's lap is on another level, but don't forget, we still got the likes of Tony and Cashman to complete their laps right now. Casper won't have time to complete another one. We can see one of the debutants, Craggy, heading towards turn number 4 now. The 21.6, we could see, I think, quite a few drivers have gone a few times quicker than that. So maybe not the best, but we'll see him climb his way through the order as well. We got quite a few steward incidents to go through, by the way, in between the breaks. So we will go through that in a moment. Jake's on his outlap as well as ERT Arnold, Konzo, and Entity. If I were you, go out in the next few seconds in order to make sure you get your run in on time. But Casper's the one to beat. But we know Cashman and Tony have got some fire in them. Can they challenge the Haas driver? Well, they can because they're not that far behind. So it's going to only take one small mistake for them not to challenge Casper for pole today.
Yeah, and of course with Casper being up there, the question we got to ask now is Casper looking at this track the same way as Singapore, because in qualifying in Singapore he was fantastic and he had such a good race. Are we going to be expecting the same from Casper again here tonight?
I think I was saying earlier that he likes these tracks where it does have high downfalls, and he has done well in these tracks before on this game. And all he's got to have to do now is wait in the pits and see what everyone else can do on their runs. I did not quite see how Cashman did in set to 1. We'll keep an eye on Tony in just a moment. We've got, I think, Craggy just came across the line in P4, so very respectable lap time from him. Exit in towards turn number 9. Very tidy from him. He's trying to find all the time possible. The end of sector 2 is approaching. He's 7,000, so he's not improving enough to beat Casper's time. He's got to have a miraculous final sector. He may just settle for second place at this rate, but we haven't seen what his teammate or Tony could do. Exits into New Holland now. He's got to find that time. Keeps it on. Oh, that was an invalidation. Invalidation for Jake, which is very unfortunate. That is his qualifying done, unless he's got enough fuel or ERS to go again. He must be absolutely frustrated with himself. 21-4 for Tony, by the way, in the first sector. Axelot is going out on a lap again, but that was a huge shame. But sometimes the pressure could get to you as Entity has gone into the gravel. If you set your lap early on, you set the benchmark, and maybe that puts a lot more people under pressure, and that's probably what we saw with Casper.
I've just seen Tony's middle sector split. He's over a 10th up on his time. This is going to be close between him and Casper.
We have to wait and see. Luckily, Entity's moved out of the way. I think you're right. I think it's going to be pole position for the Hassman, the championship leader. Up to line he goes, and by less than a tenth of a second, not even that, he snatches it from Casper. Can anyone beat that? Axelot is a few hundredths down in sector 2, but somehow it still said he's purple middle sector, so it might just be that I went on board with him at the wrong time, and I think his teammate gave him a little bit of a helping hand as well, so that might have helped him a little bit. I don't think it's going to be enough, unfortunately. I think he's down in the final sector, but up the line he goes. Where can he improve? He does not improve at all. Callum Arms goes 4th fastest. Arnold does not improve. We got Kieran, who goes up to the line. He's back in the Williams for the rest of the season. He goes in 5th fastest, and that is it then. For qualifying, Tony, with a stellar lap, goes fastest by a few 100ths of a second, and it's a Haas 1-2 with Kajman not that far behind him. What a qualifying session.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. And Catboy Key at the end going up in the P5 as well. Big improvement from him. And another car in front of Axlock.
Exactly, and that could make all the difference in terms of the championship. Luke Keane in second in the championship, doing not too well in qualifying in 10th, but there's still a long way to go for all of our drivers. We'll run for your results. Tony from Casper, Jake, Callum Unarmed, Kieran, Craggy, Axelot, Arnold, Nick, Lukey, Malvin, Waitsy, Barrett, J. Cole, Konzo, and Entity rounds up your field for this evening. And we are going to get a lobby restart in just a moment. But that qualifying was a lot closer than we thought. And it's shaping up to be what's going to be, hopefully, an exciting race. But nothing, I think, is going to stop the Hasses. But you never know. Things can change.
Yep, things can definitely change. That run down into turn 1 is going to be so crucial for both of the Hasses. And, I mean, Cashman has been known to get some good starts off the line as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's challenging down on the run into turn 1.
Yeah, we know Casper has got to nail his start. He didn't nail it too much on Singapore, but he still went on to win that one due to his really solidifying pace as well. So anything can happen around Spain. So let's go through the incidents, shall we? Because there was about 7 incidents in the P1 tier last week. There were a few racing incidents. The incident between Kieran and Lukey was noted no further action. Lukey was defending from Kieran at the start of the lap. As they approached the corner, Kieran has parked his car on the outside of Lukey. When they enter the braking zone, slight contact is made, and after reviewing the footage of both drivers, the stewards deemed this a racing incident. 5-second time penalty for Axelot due to his incident with Kieran at lap 19 due to Axelot braking himself and making contact. No further action with the incident we were talking about between Tony and Axelot. And you're probably wondering, why? Why was there no further action? Well, on lap 21, the drivers were heading towards turn 4. Tony gets a run on Axelot and attempts to move on the inside. As per the F1 rules, Axelot left sufficient space for Tony on the inside to allow Tony to stay within track limits. Contact is made on the exit of the corner and both drivers spin. Tony makes contact with the wall and loses front wheel. Neither driver is predominantly at fault, as the steward's saying, and deemed this an unfortunate racing incident. Luke and Cashman incident, no further action, and also removal of Lukey's track limit warning. And Lukey and Entity, removal of corner cutting warning, and therefore removal of the 3-second time penalty, which meant Lukey got second place in the end. Those were the incidents, majority of them. No further action, but these drivers have been told to keep up their act for this evening's race.
Yeah, and obviously no further action from the stewards on a lot of those incidents, and I think obviously going into tonight's race, now the driver's going to be a little bit more there's going to be a bit more space, I think, left between the drivers. I think there's going to be a bit more respect given to drivers attempting overtakes and defending their positions. Just for the simple fact of last week, so many instances from to be deemed no further action. It's it's going to be taken as a warning, I think, for the drivers out there.
Yeah, I think it will be, and they have been warned by quite a few things this week. They know how much space they need to give the drivers now as well, so we will keep an eye on that. And there was some information on the stewards drivers briefing about that exact moment. So you should always leave a car's width worth of space between yourself and the end of the drivable surface. And what the drivable surface is defined as, according to the stewards, as the track marked by the white lines, the curb or potential tarmac runoff. Grass, gravel and aggressive sausage curbs are not considered a drivable surface, and I think that's why people got confused last week. Your opponent should also always be able to keep at least 2 tyres in contact with the track. And also there was a warning about using AI mode. A driver that repeatedly enters AI or is in AI mode for an extended period of time or for more than 20 seconds may receive a penalty from the stewards. And that is because people can gain advantage with tyre warm-up in quite a lot of scenarios, and the AI level has been bumped up. So those were the stewards' notes to be aware of this evening. We've got the tier coordinators getting our grid ready, and then we can get underway. But interestingly, the gravel, grass and sausage curb doesn't count as a track surface according to the stewards, so they have to be entitled to have track space.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jasmine, we mentioned it earlier. Obviously, the constructors, in terms of Haas and McLaren and how well they've been doing as of late. I mean, the past 3 rounds, Haas have been, consistently getting over 25 points between the pair of their drivers and that, each race of the past 3 rounds. And then, of course, McLaren, it was a steady 20 points gained in round 4, 20 points gained in round 5. And then, of course, last week it was 36 points, and it's the second most points accumulated over a race weekend, to my knowledge. Because I believe Haas got 39 points in Baku, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that was correct. 39 points in round 4 of the championship. And I don't think, and nobody else got any higher than that. Aston Martin got close in Baku, 33 points. But Baku was a sprint race, so that kind of helped on that regard. But Aston Martin got the most points in round 6 in Brazil in the sprint race, with McLaren. Actually, McLaren got the most points as well. So that is your constructors' order, with Haas, McLaren, Aston Martin in 3rd. Mercedes not that far behind in 4th. Then we got Alpine and Williams having their own little battle with Kick Sauber too. We got RB in 8th. And then we got Red Bull and Ferrari in 9th and 10th. So the constructors still all to play for. And again, all it'll take is one little mistake. So your constructors order are here, as you can see. But if any of the Haas or the McLarens mess up, we still got the other teams not that far behind to pick up the pieces, haven't they?
Yeah, and obviously, Haas do have a nice little buffer at the moment at the top of the constructors. But for McLaren, any slip-ups from them, they'll be immediately under pressure from Aston Martin and Mercedes.
In particular, I would say Aston Martin potentially, but they got to have their second drivers really start to pick up the pace a little bit. But certain drivers, they either make mistakes of their own or they get involved in incidents, which is not ideal. And we hope that, again, like I was saying, all of these drivers to be a lot cleaner tonight, because otherwise they could be in a spot of bother. Now, as I was saying earlier, wet weather towards the end of the race, and they were asked about these wet weather conditions. Axelot doesn't really care about it. He's got to do his best with any condition, and he knows he's got a good setup sorted for that. People think that Lukey thinks that people run a lower downforce setup than what people are expecting. Overtaking will be difficult but possible. I agree with that. I'm just trying to see if anyone else has responded to the pre-race interviews in RT. There we go, Tony. Tony wants wet weather. He's willing to pay, apparently. Well, the bribe did not work, unfortunately. Joking, I didn't give any bribes. And he's surely looking forward to Spain while he's in P2 at the moment. So those were what people were saying in the pre-race interviews. And Casper was asked about the same thing about the weather. Ready for anything. Rain, hail, cats or dogs. Bring it on. So, again, Hasses are the ones to watch out for. And the drivers have been told to ready up. And a quick reminder, for those of you that are watching the stream in the background, please remember your setups. Because if you don't, default setups around here, I tried that before, it is not good. Not good at all. And luckily, Tony has saved his pole lap for TikTok. Thank you, Tony. I love you. So we will put it on TikTok ready for next week. There we go. So, yes, that is going to be interesting towards that. And by the way, if any of you in the chat have any queries about the stewarding, please feel free to message Colin on Discord for more information. Great to see a few first-time people in the chat as well, which is interesting. But we're starting off with light clouds. And we get to see one Mercedes and one Red Bull's tyre choices, which is quite interesting. What would you go for? I think I would go for double mediums because we don't know when the rain's going to come. Softs don't last very long around here. Softs is never a good race tyre unless it's towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I feel mediums are probably the best tyre to start on because you have the flexibility of obviously talking with the engineer, seeing how long until the rain is scheduled to arrive, and then you can make that call whether or not it's worth going on to another set of mediums or chucking on a set of the hards to try and go all the way to the end without making the switch. But yeah, I think mediums is going to be the best choice now. Obviously, early safety car would mean the softs would be the better choice, but I don't know. I'm expecting to see a lot more drivers on the set of the mediums than the softs or the hards.
Yeah, the mediums actually feel pretty good. I was able to make them last 14, 15 laps in my second stint earlier before it was enough for the intermediate conditions. So it is doable, but it also does depend on how much fuel these drivers can have around this circuit. And before we actually get on to the main action, let's have a quick run through of our sponsors. Next Level Racing being our first one. Lots of prizes on offer, £2,000 worth of prizes. So a lot for these drivers to work for during the season. And also our sponsors Pure Sim Gear. The driver with the most fastest laps and poles combined will win a pair of Pure Sim Gear gloves or socks. Vespertine are providing prizes this season and also are supporting our championship apparel and season apparel. The winner of the Going Gets Tougher War will win a Race the Dream t-shirt. The winner of our One Hub Racing driver rankings will win a One Hub Racing t-shirt. Our partners at SimGrid are providing our standings and also providing a great community. And also our final partner is Mental Health Foundation. If you're struggling at the moment, Mental Health Foundation are a good charity to talk. If you're suffering from mental health problems, please do not suffer in silence. Please talk to your friends or family if you're ever stuck with your mental health. So, we're about to get going for some action and the formation lap is on and we can see what tyres people have gone for. Interestingly, 3 drivers have gone for the softs, which is Tony, Casper and Axelot. Entity has gone for the hards, which I don't think is the right race tyre in my opinion, but fair play if that works. And everyone else has gone for the medium tyres. Now, are you surprised for the 4 drivers that have gone for a different strategy to go for the tyres they did, Mike? Mike,
apologies. Apologies. It's interesting. I didn't expect the Haas's to go for a set of the softs off the line. Obviously, Axel, he needs to kind of get himself up there with his teammate just to make sure he can back up Gajman and obviously try to put pressure on the Haas's because he definitely needs to try and beat Tony out on track if he wants any hope of closing in the championship. But yeah, very interesting with the strategy choices and Entity. I don't know. I think lack of practice on Entity. I think he's starting on the hards now just to be able to just put in lap after lap after lap.
Yeah, maybe he wants to do a very long hard stint earlier on and then pit maybe lap 20 for the mediums, and then he could stretch out those mediums for a long period of time. But what if there's a safety car? Safety cars could change things quite massively in one hub racing, and that means the rain could come a lot sooner than you think. In the P2 tier, with lovely commentary from Nick and Colin, the rain did not come until about lap 29, and it wasn't instant enough till lap 30, lap 31. Actually, no, the rain started coming a few laps earlier than that. But yeah, it was around about lap 30, 31 when people came into the pit with no safety car. But the weather is set to approximate, so we'll have to wait and see. Get your predictions in the channel who you think's going to win. I'm going to put my top three as Casper, Tony, and I'm going to go with Cashman. Quickly, because we don't have that long, Mike. Who's your top three?
Cashman, Tony, and then I'm gonna go Kieran for the final spot on the podium.
That is not a bad shout, because Kieran has done very well in this track in the past. So we'll wait for all of our drivers to make their way on to the grid of future qualifications. That's not going to do their tyres any good. But here we go then. For the 7th time of asking, the 5 red lights are on here at the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalonia. Here we go. It is time to rock and roll. Let's see who gets the best start out of everybody. Casper gets a good launch on the line. Jake right in the middle of this as well. Callum on arms got a good restart. So is Craggy. In towards turn number 1. Keep it through the outside curve. It's Tony leads from Casper, from Cashman, from Craggy, from Callum on arms, from Axelot, from Arnoud. And we're seeing Entities dropping his way through the field. But we can see some side-by-side action. Axelot down the inside in towards turn number 4. Tries to get the move on Callum on arms. And he does it with ease. Brilliant job from him on those soft tyres. And we'll start to see potentially the soft tyres go away. Catboy Key is dropping back a little bit, which is not ideal, but Callum making his way past Arnold up into 7th. Arnold almost got the move done actually, but it's the two Hasses on those softs leading the field away, Mike.
Yeah, the two Hasses doing exactly what they needed to, both getting off the line very well on those soft tyres, not getting jumped by Cashman. Axlock doing very well off the start now, making up 2 positions early on up into P5 as we got Lukey battling with Catboy Key by here for the final sector, side-by-side action between the Williams and the Aston Martin, and they're still side-by-side, Jess.
They're still side-by-side heading towards the final corner as one of the Mercedes made a little bit of mistake there. That was very close, but he's able to keep his car together on the track as they all start lap 2 with DRS enabled, as Jacob, by the way, goes side by side with Malvin into turn number 1, and he gets the move done and defends for Malvin into 11th spot. Don't forget, in 100 Racing top 12 do score points, and you can start to see the soft runners really starting to break away from the rest of the field up front, because Jake is already out of DRS to the top 2. Craggy has been very impressive in 4th spot, and he's going to be chasing down Jake for 3rd position on the same set of the medium tyres. And we know these softs don't last very well, so Axelot has got to get the moves ASAP as they exit in towards turn 9. So turn 9, he's got to get that ERS perfectly and enable it effectively. So Axelot trying to make his way past Craigie. Can he do it? Nope, he cannot. He's not going to as of yet. Lukey looking really good on the back of Nick as well. This is going to be an interesting fight between the pair of them as well, but that is going to be quite close towards the midfield. Action happening everywhere, Mike.
Yeah, action up and down the field right now as the Hasses, they done what they needed to do. They've broken that 1 second gap. Cashman's going to be under pressure now from Cracky in behind, and here we go down into turn number 1. Cracky around the outside, job done before the break-in. That
was very tidy from Craggy, one of the new drivers to the league. He's doing a stellar job, and can he chase down the soft runners? That is something to behold. He's replacing Papa Scorch for the rest of the season. Papa, unfortunately, do not having any other time at the moment to race in this league, which is a bit of a shame, but we've got a good driver in his place to hopefully score some good points for the Kick Sauber team. So your top 6 running similar order to what we saw earlier, with Catboy Key dropping down the order. We'll go through your positions gained, and biggest gainer Craggy up 3, Jacob up 3. Biggest loser has to be Kieran down 3 and Callum on arms down 2. So the RB and Williams not doing very well. Callum on arms almost trying to get the move past Axelot, but to no avail. Arnold in that bit of a sandwich as well. We got that lovely, beautiful helicopter shot, gaining a beautiful view of the track. but we're already starting on lap 4 already, and we'll see if the softs are starting to give up the ghost. If Craggy can increase close up the gap, then we know that those softs will die, but not quite yet. We've got, I think, a battle between the McLarens and the RB as they make their way towards turn number 1 now. Let's see what Callum can do on the back of Axelot. No can do, but Nick makes his way past Lukey with a DRS up to 9th, Mike.
Yep, Nick doing a good overtake there with DRS getting past Lukey. Lukey, not where he wants to be down in P10 at the moment. He's got a lot of work to do in this race, and it's just going to be interesting. I think these soft tyres potentially are kind of at that crossover where they're kind of similar to the mediums at this stage, because Axelot doesn't appear to have the grip advantage anymore through the corners compared to like Cashman and Callum in behind.
Yeah, I think the crossover point can be a bit earlier than you think. So the ones on the softs are going to hope for a safety car, but I think the only other option then would be going on to the hard compounded tyres, and the expected tyre wear per lap's around about 5% each lap. So, and especially the front and left, that's where it wears a lot, as I found out in practice. It wears quite a lot very quickly to the 40% mark after lap 6 or 7. So something to keep an eye on. And the crossover point is around about now. So we'll start to see it coming down. Craggy losing a bit of time to these guys. And that's allowing Jake to get past Craggy down the inside. And here comes Axelot as well with his teammate. Both McLaren's working very well, but it's going to be very tight on entry. Callum trying to do the same. Callum's trying to do a double overtake here. And if it can make it work, that'll be beautiful from the RB driver. Craggy defending for his life. Axelot to the outside on the exit of turn number 4. But to no avail, now heading towards turn number 5. It is also tight between this DRS train. Axelot has had a moment. Axelot has had a moment, but he's just about kept it on the white lines. Catboy Key getting past Axelot up into 7th. Those softs for Axelot are not working very well for him.
That was a massive rear lock up then from Axelot in towards turn number 5. Absolutely losing the back end, losing several positions. And all that just stemmed from the fact that he tried to rush the overtake on Craggy with his tyres beginning to fall away from him. And he got hit with the switchback, got immediately overtaken by Callum as a result. And I think maybe a little bit of panic set in, and he made that crucial mistake in turn 5.
Yeah, potentially. And with the dirty air around here, as I found out earlier, it's an absolute nightmare. So that's what Axelot has been experiencing. Meanwhile, in the background, we still got side-by-side action between the other RB and also Jaco fighting the 2 Mercedes. Jaco up into 9th place. Marvin looking very good in 10th. If I were the 2 Mercedes drivers, I would work together here as you enter in towards turn number 4. We got Konzo trying to make his way past Lukey. Down the inside, actually, no, he's going around the outside line. It's a much better line through there from Konzo. Oh, it's going to be squeezed in towards turn 5. That's where a lot of people been caught out before. Lukey up the inside of Malvin. But Konzo's like, nope, you're not even going to try and get past Malvin, because I'm going to try and get past you. Konzo's up into 12. It's a much better racing than what we saw last week. They definitely took the warning seriously, these guys, and it's showing some very close racing. We got a DRS train all the way from 3rd place, all the way down into 14th place, as Waitsy and Entity having a bit of a scrap right now, and they up into 15th. I think those hards for Entity is not doing too bad, but they're still at the back of the grid. Meanwhile, the 2 Hatsid at the front, they're working together to make sure no one can have a sniff of them. They're switching DRS with each other. Casper's now in the lead.
Yep, Casper in the lead, and here goes Craggy down the inside of Cashman. Job done at turn 1. You see Callum and Arm there just sitting in behind, waiting for an opportunity, trying to pick his lines right. As Arnold's in behind, he's under a little bit of pressure from Catboy Key. And I think, I think those soft tyres begin to fall away, because look how far back Axelot has been dropping away now.
Yep, yellow flag. What's that yellow flag? Oh, it was Barrett. Barrett, who's making his return to the league after his long break, has had a bit of an off in the background. So he is down into 60th place. So I didn't catch what caused that incident. It might have just been a lock-up from him or a spin, which is so easy to do around here. And you need to get that setup right. It's very, very important. So he's the only one out of that battle for the podium, so to speak, which is a real huge shame. So far, 7 laps are done. so far on these tyres. I think 13 laps each on the mediums will be absolutely fine. But again, it depends on when this wet weather will come through. Callum on Armed is looking very, very feisty on those medium tyres, and we know that he prefers smooth driving. So we'll see if he can be a smooth operator tonight. Cashman wants to be a smooth operator though. He's trying to get past Craggy. He licked the stab and send it, sends Cashman. And he's up onto the podium positions. He is on fire right now, and he's got to make sure he has enough life on those medium tyres to close in onto the two houses later. But at the moment, that move was crucial from Cashman as he's fighting for his life here. Brilliant stuff. This fight for third place is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and we're starting to see now the gap begin to close between Cashman and Tony. It's down to 2 seconds flat now. It was a little bit more than that not too long ago. And you can see through the corners, the mediums are starting to gain in on the soft compound tyres. As here goes Callum Arm now. He is all over the back of Cracky. He's going to look to the outside and backs out with a smart call there from Callum Arm to not commit to the outside line through turn 10 there.
Yeah, I think Callum knows after the incidents he was having over the last few weeks, he has been better placed in terms of his battle, which is great to see. And we got our first pitter. Tony is in the pit, and that is where you would expect the soft runners to come in. So Tony pitting a lap earlier, Casper will be pitting on the next lap. And the gap is not too bad, so Casper should still come out in a decent position to his teammate. So Tony, what tyres is he going to go on to? He's going to go on to the hard tyres, and I would expect Casper to do it the same, or would he go the opposite? I have no idea. That's the beauty of this two-stop strategy. It's mandatory no matter what these conditions are, so they're going to have to pit again regardless. Some people will be wanting to stay out until the rain. Some people want to get their two stops out the way as quickly as they can. So if it doesn't rain, then they'll have their two stops out the way, and then they won't have to worry about will the tyres make it to the end or not. So lap number 9 then. We got Jake, our leading runner, but Casper's pushing. Casper is pushing from Jake. You can see the gap increasing quite a lot through there. But the battle that we want to watch as Jacob's got our first 3-second time penalty of the evening. Craggy trying to go up around the outside of Cashman. Callum Unarmed is looking to take advantage as well, potentially, but they can't afford to push these tyres too much. Casper's in, unsurprisingly, so now Jake is your race leader on track. So we've got 5 cars fighting for the lead on track. Craggy's going to be in a good position to do so, and there was no contest. Free wide into turn number 1. I thought it was going to be no contest. Arnell's at the moment. He's dropped to the back of the field. He got a bit too greedy, unfortunately, which is allowing Callum Alarm to say thank you very much. That's my P2. Jake's down to 3rd. And look at this. Kieran is joining the party as well. Arnell's not lost too much because he's also in that DRS tray.
Yeah, Arnold, I think he might have missed his braking point.
Yeah, he did.
He took to the outside and was got very, very lucky to not run into the back of anyone and risk losing the front wing there for Arnold. But yeah, it just seemed like he just got a little bit short-sighted on his braking points, and an uncharacteristic mistake there from Arnold.
Yep, but still a long race to go for Arnold, so he can be still fighting for P3. Penalties can play a massive factor, but only one driver has got penalties so far. And we had four drivers that have come into the pits already. And we'll see if the undercut will work out well. So Craggy, your race leader at the moment. And Cashman's in, so is Arnold. So they're taking advantage of that early undercut. Oh my goodness! Now that was an interesting pit entry from Arnold. That's not the first time I've seen that around Spain. So that means Arnold will get ahead of Jake, it looks like. So where's Jake going to come out? Oh, that's very tight. But I wonder if there's going to be an incident for the shoots. But I think that was very clever, to be honest, from Arnold. But Jake might beg to differ. And Arnold's pitted a lap early with these soft tyres, and he's come out ahead of these two guys. Arnold's gone for the mediums. Jake's gone for the hards. So I wonder what strategy is going to come into effect here. Jake's gone for the long game. Arnold wants to be very quick ASAP to try and catch up to Axelot. But Casper leads from Tony. So Casper, with those medium tyres, is going to help him at the moment. But if the rain doesn't come as soon as you think, it will be advantage Tony later on. So Casper's got to push like a mad one during these next couple of laps. As Waitsy, by the way, gets past Kondo up to 7th, Mike.
Yeah, Waitsy through up into 7th. Yeah, very interesting and very opportunistic overtaking opportunity there from Arnold in the pit lane on Cashman. And yeah, I think Cashman will probably be looking at us thinking, I can't believe that just happened, but fair play.
Yeah, hopefully you'll be thinking like that as Callum Waity and Konzo come into the pit lane. So there still remains 5 drivers still yet to box, and Callum and Arm going on to the hard tyres. We've got Konzo doing the same. Waity going on to a set of the hard compounded tyres as well. So mixture of strategies, what we like to see. And now we're going to see these two squabbling for positions. They got to be careful though, because ideally they want a bit of clear air in order to just increase the gap up front so they won't lose out when they come out onto a next set of their mediums or to a set of the hard compounded tyres. So maybe this is not worked out for them, but you have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Nick has got clean air, so he's able to close in just a little bit more. And we will see what happens with these two. Are they going to think about pitting now? If I were them, I would do so.
Yeah, and I'm very interested in the those that have pitted onto the hards, because of course mandatory 2-stop as we say. I wonder if they're gonna see if they can stretch the hards all the way to the rain, because I mean from right now, you definitely think a hard compound tire will definitely get to the rain. It'll just be a case of if the rain is gonna be heavy enough to warrant the switch over to Indes.
And we've got Entity, by the way, that's got past Nick up into 2nd place. So I wonder if any of the Mercedes have made a mistake there, because the gap was quite massive there. So we've got a Williams 1-2 out there on the circuit at the moment. Craggy has come in, and it is so tight between Axelot, Craggy and Arnold at the moment. But Axelot is still ahead. A podium spot for him at the moment, so his setup has worked wonders for him. So we've got Craggy in kind of like a medium stroke hard sandwich. And we see if he can close the gap to him. A bit of contact from Arnold. Callum and Arnold is in it as well. You don't want to be too close around Spain with the dirty air, but you don't want to be out of that DRS train. So Callum is going to try and do all he can to take advantage of maybe mistakes that are coming into play as well. I think I know what the two Mercedes are doing, Mike. I think they're stretching those mediums to around about lap 14, 15 and doing about 15 laps on each on the set of the medium tyres. So they want to see how far they can take those mediums now so they know what they could do at this point. Kieran, though, he's going to come into the pits now. I would brave it and go onto the mediums, but yeah, I think he's thinking of going onto the mediums now. Probably the latest opportunity. Nick comes in now as well. Right time. What tyre is he going to go on to? I see a yellow stripe mediums going on his car. So he's going to go on them until the rain. I'm liking the difference in strategies. Which strategy is going to work? Well, I can't wait to find out which strategy comes out on top.
Oh, it's going to be freeway in turn 1 again. And with Kieran coming out of the pit lane and very close. Oh my God. As Craggy there almost losing the car. Getting very close to coming on. And that's allowed Catboy Key down the inside in towards turn 3. Job done for the Williams.
That was fantastic for the Williams and Kieran, actually. Maybe that is definitely helping improve on his racecraft currently. I'm absolutely loving this from these guys as well. But Craggy, he was pretty much in the lead of this train. Now he's dropped down to 9th. So maybe those hards are not working at the moment, but just wait until we get to the rain period. He could potentially be fast when we get ahead to the crossover point. Now, lap 14 and 30, Axelot, he's broken free of DRS to Arnold. And don't forget, Arnold has got that 3-second penalty. So it is advantage Axelot with these guys. Catboy Key is going to try and go for another move on Callum. Malvin goes in into the pit lane for his first stop. And we'll see what tire he go on in just a moment. But meanwhile, we've got this battle to watch once again. It could be 3 wide once more as Tony takes 3rd place from Malvin. Where is Malvin going to drop? He might jump with these up, but you never know. Here comes the Williams driver of Kieran to the outside line towards turn number 1. And he gets past Callum up to 6th.
Yeah, good move there from Kieran, and Callum trying to come back through turn 3, but unable to get enough of a run to go for a movement towards turn number 4. Unfortunate there for the RB, but he's going to sit in behind. And of course, Kieran on a fresher set of mediums is going to be very quick versus these slightly more warm mediums in front of him.
Very warm mediums indeed for the likes of Arnold and Axelot, who pitted a few laps earlier, and they're going to be craving for some wet weather earlier on as well. But we saw in P2 that wasn't the case. But you never know with these lobbies. Looking at the weather, it's a bit darker than what we saw in P2. It's a bit darker early on, so we might see the rain come as soon as you think. Let us know your predictions in the chat. When is the rain going to come? That'll be good. And we do have a raider from our lovely founder of Vespertine. Well done on your result today, and they're cheering on Williams. And Sharky saying, make Williams proud. As Arna, by the way, has got past Axelot up into 4th place right now. And much love, One Up Racing. I'm loving you, Vespertine. Thank you to all you do in supplying the merch as well. And again, well done on your good result here. Catboy Kieran is going to go for the move. No, he's not going to, as Axelot shuts the door.
Exit, though.
He's got a good exit on turn number 4. He's going to try for a lunge. He's got to be careful for turn number 5. A bit of contact being made there. Axelot just about defends from Kieran.
Honestly, I think Kieran heard the call there from Vespertine in the chat saying make Williams great again. He was like, okay, hold my drink.
Right, we got some predictions for the rain. So Colin says lap 23. Jamie, I believe, is in the One Hub account, I believe. Lap 22. And Vespertine, lap 27, he predicts. And Sharky saying lap 25. So those are the predictions. I'm going to go with lap... I'm going to agree with Vespertine. I'm going to go with lap 27. But I think it may come sooner than you think, so... I'm going to still go by my decision, lap 27. But speaking of Williams again, surely not. Surely Kieran's not going to go for a double overtake. No, it'd be just outbreaks himself in time. But that would have been amazing if he did, but it would have been contact. So Kieran was playing it safe there. Nick got away down the inside of Jacob up into 10th place. And there we go. The move's being made as it stands. I'm surprised NC has not come in yet. I'm surprised. Does he know that it's a two-stop race regardless of conditions?
I think he does. I think he's stretching these hards, going on to the set of mediums, and I think he's banking on the rain coming in around, I want to say around lap...
Oh, Malvin's out of the race! Are we going to get a safety car? Yes! That means we could have the rain earlier than we thought. That's worked for Entity. He could do his first stop right here and right now, but he's going to drop way down the order. That has worked out very well for Entity, but I don't think you want to get your 2 stops done now because the rain's going to come a lot earlier now. But it depends on who has put the practice in. Tony has come in. Tony thinks that the rain's not going to come at all. He wants to get his 2nd stop done now. Axelot, Callum and Craggy doing the same. Cashman doing the same. What is Nick going to do? Nick stays out. Jaco comes in. We got a mixture of strategies here. Waitsy stays out. Lukey comes into the pit lane. Konzo comes into the pit lane. Bear, I don't know what's going to happen with him, but we'll find out in just a moment. But that spices things up massively. Shame for the Mercedes driver, though. But that spiced up the race a little bit because everyone that's pitted is going to be on fresh mediums. They could get to the end. They don't have to worry about doing another stop if the rain doesn't come down hard enough. Bring it on.
Yeah, the question is, though, are the mediums... obviously, they'll be towards the end of their usable life, and by the time we get to the final lap, it's going to be a case of how well these guys can keep those mediums in check in terms of the tyre weight. Interesting, though.
Entity's in 4th.
Yeah, Entity up in 4th. You got Nick that decided to stay out. He's in 5th right now, ahead of Tony. You got Waitsy and behind on the 6-lap old hards behind Tony. You got Axlock now, who is going to be looking at this as a huge blessing because remember, he was a fair few seconds off the back of Tony before the safety car came out. Now he has sights on a championship rival of his.
I think there's a lot of rivals coming into this as well that is looking to climb their way up. And I'm looking in the chat now. Colin thinks that pitting is an error. I hate to say it. I agree with you. I think people who just pitted a lap or two ago should have stayed out. Nick, I think, according to Colin, has played a blinder. Entity's playing the blinder for staying out on those hard tyres. So I think these two, their strategies have worked very well. And we know that the Inters are going to come up very soon. So we don't know what's going to happen here. Casper, I think, and Arnold, they're going to probably get swamped. But anything can happen in One Hub Racing. We know that. Sharky's saying in the chat, I don't know, but I hear non-stop pop radio host is one of the commentators. Who are you referring to on that? Me or Mike? Probably Mike, but I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest. But there we go. We're about to start lap 20 very soon. And with the ones who haven't done their 2-stop yet, they're going to hope the rain's going to come ASAP. And Barry's gone on the softs, by the way.
Yeah, very interesting goal from Mera to go on the set of the sauce. He must be really banking on the rain coming down a little bit quicker. And yeah, in terms of non-stop pop radio now, like, I'm very confused. Very confused.
Yeah, I'm very confused as well. Yeah, if you could tell us who you're referring to, that would be lovely. If it's me, I would like to know who I sound like. I really do. But anyway, I just think the rain's gonna come like next lap or even a lap after. So my prediction for lap 27 has probably not come true. I think the closest is going to be, it could be Jamie. I think it could be lap 22 or even Colin. So I think it's going to be a fight between you two in the chat. Is safety car going to come in? I think it's going to stay out another lap because we're still waiting for Bered to catch up.
Yeah, it's too late for a call now for the dive in.
Oh my God, I'm just reading the chat right now. Colin has just said, Mike is the Eddie Butler of F1. I don't know what that means, but yeah, only Mike will get this reference apparently. I don't think Mike does.
I definitely do not get the reference.
Sorry, Carl, none of us get that reference. Oh my.
I don't know whether or not I should be upset or not. Like, should I be upset?
Yeah, should he be happy or should he be upset, Cole? I don't know. I really don't know. I do miss Cole, by the way, out there on the chat, but he's doing some good stuff in the GT7 world at the moment, so he is still racing, don't you worry. But in other sims. So, safety cars should come in this... Why is Barry pitted again? I'm a bit bemused.
Is this a ploy, perhaps, for Barrett to keep the safety car as long as possible?
Potentially.
Or maybe to make sure he's on the freshest set of softs as possible for the restart to make the rain come sooner.
Maybe. Sharky's put something in the chat which may explain a bit, but I still don't get it. Non-Stop is a radio station in GTA 5 and he sound like Cara Delevingne, which voiced a radio host there.
Actually, I hear it now, yep.
Do you?
Yep. It's you, Jess.
What?
Is
it? Is it? Oh, yeah. God, right, right, Mike, can you find that clip of that, please? And I'll watch it after the stream. Because I don't play GTA 5, so I have no idea. So yeah, if you can send me that at the end, that'd be lovely. I'm tempted to make a TikTok on that actually. Anyway, enough about GTA 5 and references for Eddie Butler and Cara. Safety cars in this lap. And Jamie's just put in the chat, where was it in P2? Yeah, I agree. Where was it in P2? We needed those safety cars. Anyway, Casper's pulling away already. 1 second between himself and Arnold, which means that Casper is on another level. Entity to the inside of Catboy Key in towards turn number 1. Don't forget, you can't move under braking more than once. And let's see what Kieran could do past Entity. He repasses them at the moment. And we start to see the fresher tyres are starting to come into effect. Here comes Tony on the back of Nick. Side by side through turn number 4. This is going to be great stuff. I think Tony's going to get this move done. 2 by 2. Yeah, that was beautiful from Tony, though. That fresher rubber is helping Nick there. Waited in this as well, but he may get swamped by Outslot later on. But I wonder if those lot could work together a bit more. A bit of lock up there. I thought I just saw some rain there, or if I'm just imagining things, I don't know. But there's some good side-by-side action. But Casper, really good restart there.
Yeah, I do not know what happened to Arnold on that restart because Casper bolted, and I think Arnold just got completely caught napping on that restart.
Yeah, he did. And he's still going to be winning that DRS. He's still going to be absolutely fine. Those two are pulling away. Entity is doing not too bad, but he's got that big DRS train behind him. And we know how Kieran is fast around here, and we know what Tony could do. Tony is rapid around here. Tony's going to pass one of the Williams in towards turn one maybe. Clips to the outside curb. Here he goes. Nicely done. Up into fourth place. So he's already climbing his way through and he wants to win this race. I predicted Tony's potentially could win this one and he's doing very well to do so. But Casper is on another level right now and Tony's got to catch up to his teammate. And we know that the two Hasses can work together here to do well in this championship. Entity is doing all he can to defend to get a podium. I think Entity finished fourth last week, I believe, and he got driver of the day. He's looking to get another one place higher and get into third spot, but we know how quick Tony is in a straight line. He's got perfect straight line speed, and what is Tony going to do right now? Tony's going to play it safe for now on this lap because we know the rain's going to come soon. Axelot down the inside of Waitsy, but Waitsy covers him off. Waitsy covers it off, so Axelot's going to turn to the outside line. Here comes Waitsy to the outside now. We've got Callum on arm trying to do exactly the same. A bit of a squiggle from Axelot actually, but Axelot just about holds on.
Yeah, Axel just about holds on. Very opportunistic move there from Callum and I'm getting through on Waitsy as well. And he's got through on Axel. It could be free wide into turn one as well in the background.
Oh my goodness!
As, the McLaren switch around the Cashman there, almost losing the car as you got a cracky over Axlock. Axlock has just gone from P7 down to P12 in the space of 1 sector, Jess.
And he was doing so well at the start, so I wonder if his management of the tyres is not doing so well. But don't forget, we got really high caliber drivers in this division in P1 tier, so not that surprising. And it might just come down for him, for Craggy, down to the experience. So that's not helping him one bit, but you never know, this race is far from over. What's happening, Mike?
Towards the back, I think contact between Brenner and Lukey, and Brenner goes straight into the back of Axlock as well. Axlock there weaving down the straight in towards turn number 10, so he's not happy, and I think potentially he might have just got away without damaging his front wing. Obviously, Brenner definitely needs to get his front wing changed, but Axlock, they're not happy with what happened down on that lap just now.
Nope, he's not happy at all. Arna, by the way, takes the lead of the race, and guess who's caught up to the back of this train now? Speed Tony in the Haas, and these two Haasses have got to work well to make sure Arnold doesn't have a sniff now. Arnold's got to defend for his life, and we got Barry that's had a bit of a moment in turn one, and he's lost a bit of his front wing on the left, Mike.
He's gone into the back of Waitsy in towards turn number 1. Waitsy got tagged around, and Brenner they're losing more front wing, and honestly it's not great for Brenner at the moment. He seems to be missing his braking point, and down towards turn 1 when you got a damaged wing, it's very easy to lock up those tyres and go straight on. So Brenner there, I think, needs to come into the pits and change over to a fresh set of tyres ASAP.
Yeah, hopefully he does have a spare set of softs, but I do think he's pitted like far too many times, and he's going to drop off quite a bit. I think his only way that his race is going to get saved is another late safety car, which probably what it might not happen. So Tony is going to watch this battle unfold, I think, as Casper defends to the right-hand side. And Tony's going to sweep past Arnhout, and that was good teamwork from the Haas team. Casper, P1, Tony, P2. Brilliant for the constructors, and now these two are going to probably fight for position, but they don't want to cause too much hassle. Tony goes to the inside of turn number 4. Actually, it's the outside line, but never mind. And Tony takes the lead of the Grand Prix, and now gets P2 back for Casper.
Yeah, I was just about to ask the question. Obviously, with the Haas's being able to overtake Arnold, do you think Casper would have conceded the position to Tony, obviously with the gap being 30 points between them? But yeah, it seems Arnold there making sure he's got himself in between both Tony and Casper.
that is what it's looking like at the moment. Some pure racing. And if I was Casper, I wouldn't have let that go, because you would have tried to defend for your life. Arnold would have probably stayed where he was, and it would have still been a Haas 1-2. But you can see the decision might have been the best one, because Tony's pulling away quite massively at the moment between Arnold, 7/10 of a second. We don't know when the rain's going to come. I don't think any of us are going to get our predictions right at the moment, because some of the laps that people have predicted have come and gone right now. And we got the top 10 all within this train, and all it takes is just one mistake on people pitting, and that can completely ruin your race. And I wonder if anyone has got some setup. And I just saw Jayco and Nick having a battle in the background. Jayco up into 9th now. I think Nick may have made a bit of mistake there as well, as Lukey, by the way, set the fast lap of the race, Mike.
Yeah, Lukey, fastest lap of the race, did not decide to come into the pit stop to change his front wing.
Rain!
Yeah.
Lap 26.
And who had 26? Did anyone have 26?
Myself and Vespertine were close with 27. And Sharky was close with 25. So, the three of us were close, but we're not close enough. But there's rain on the horizon. I think Tony has got this race win in the bag. He's pulling away by 1.4 seconds. But behind that, we got some action going on. They want to make as positions as they can before the rain hits properly. As Kieran up into 3rd spot, but we also got Casper trying to defend from his life on the 2 as Arnold's round, and here goes Jacob past him, and we got Catman and Craggy trying to make positions. Jake likes these positions down the inside, a bit of contact in towards 10 number 4 maybe. Yeah, Jake's back up into 6th place. Oh my God, the action is heating up as the rain hits, Mike.
Yeah, everyone knows just how difficult it is to make overtakes happen in the rain. So trying to make the most of these tricky conditions right now, as the circuit will begin to get wetter and wetter, making the surface more slippery on these slick tyres. And everyone needs to get these positions ASAP as quickly as possible.
They do, because you never know when it'll be the right time for the intermediates. For some lobbies, it may take a long time for it to be intermediate. And you can see some sliding happening already from the ones who've been on those tyres for ages. So we'll keep an eye on Casper, we'll keep an eye on Arnold and Nick. And for Waitsy as well, who've been on those tyres for 15 laps already. But for everybody else, they should be absolutely fine, as we're seeing, I think, some more switcheroos from both of the Williamses. As Entity down the outside, actually, and that was very tight entry. They're all sidey at the moment. No one is liking these conditions. Oh, Callum's had a slide, and I don't know how he saved that, Mike. I
have no idea how he managed to save that thing. Callum doing incredibly well to save that car. In terms of this right now, obviously that was the worst thing that could have happened for Tony. Casper getting overtaken by both Williams, because you know full well there's going to be some teamwork coming in from the Williams period now to close back up to Tony.
It's going to be interesting. We already have some people in on Inters. I think it's too early, personally.
It's too soon.
Yeah, it's too early to do so. I'm getting some awful sneezes right now. It's very annoying, which is not helping in this scenario. But yeah, you can still see a dry line.
Well, one thing I will say, it does appear that Waitsy's actually closing in on his teammate here, and I think potentially we're at the crossover point.
We're seeing people in. Sorry, I'm having annoying sneeze at the wrong time of the race. As Casper's in 4 Inters, so is Nick and Axelot. So could it be the right time?
I think it is the right time, because now Waitsy's got through on Lukey. Let's see the gap between himself and Konzo will of course be the next driver up ahead. But yeah, you can see Waitsy, he's closing in on the likes of Axelot, Nick and Casper through that final sector. I think it was the right time when Waitsy and came into the pits for Inters.
Sorry, I was about to sneeze again. As oh no, Lukey's got a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah,
But
Casper's closing in on the Konza.
yeah, Kondo. Casper is closing in on Kondo. Nick is in a good position as well, and he's fighting with Atslot. Atslot's got more traction on exit in towards turn number 5, but Nick's saying, no, sorry, you can't be fighting too much, lad, because you're on the better tyre right now.
Well, much better exit out of turn 5 though for Axlock, and job done on the run in towards turn number 7.
And I think you can see it being very slippy at the moment, and you can see Entity having it slippy. Kieran's in the pit lane.
Yep, so is Cashman, so is Arnold. Interesting that as Cashman 10 second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, not ideal for him.
Not the race for him.
Do you think these guys out here on the mediums right now are saying that they're just going to go to the end?
It's a bit of a risky strategy, but we're not that long to go. We'll see what the gap is. The gap is 14.9 seconds between Casper and J. Cole. But you can see the medium runners are just going so slowly. It's not going to be that long before the Inters close in. So I think Tony's just balled on the race win here. DRS disabled. It's time for Inters. If they're not on Inters now, you bottle this race win. Tony, what have you done?
And Entity and Callum as well, and
They were on for good races.
Jekyll.
They were on for good races. The rain has come quicker than you would expect right now. So they're going to have to come in now. And you can see the gap come down. It's going to come down sooner or later. He can't stay out. And Tony's staying out. What is he doing?
Tony is staying out. Callum's staying out. Craggy's staying out.
Entity's pitting, which is fair enough. You're going to lose more time anyway. By the way, if Tony wins on mediums, that will just be an absolute masterclass of a skill for Tony. Or maybe Casper's going to help Tony win this race. I don't know, but if I was Casper, I would try and win your second race in one hub in the top tier here. Casper's got this one in the bag. And Jake up into third past Entity. Entity's still in a good position. Because of Entity pitting now, he's still in fourth place, so he hasn't lost out on a lot.
Yeah, and Tony, if he came into the pits, obviously he'd be right there with Entity and battling with Cashman. And you got to think with the Inters, Casper and Kieran are going to be flying towards the back of these medium runners. I think I understand what Tony and Callum and Cracky are trying to do, but I just think in the final 2 laps, they're just going to lose so much time compared to the Inters. It's just not going to be worth it.
It's not going to be worth it at all. Because look at the gap now. 4.5 seconds between Casper and J. Cole. I think you're not going to lose out much if you pit now. Just pit now. Pit now. What are they doing? I think there's a method to their madness, not going to lie. But we are about to start lap 32. Callum's got the good straight line speed. You can see it's so slippery. I just don't think it's worth it. Let's just look at the difference. I'm gonna go on board with Casper right now as they make their way towards turn number 1. I just doubt that's the right decision. You can see the amount of traction that the intermediates get. It's just not worth it. Casper's already through up into 4th place, and we got Atsok and Arnold squeezing for a move. Oh my god, that was close. As Arnold is through. Callum on arm, by the way. It's through. They're just going so slowly. It's hard to tell. There could be an instant here, but I doubt that's going to happen.
The thing is as well, Jess, is that these two are battling, Tony and Callum. They're losing even more time than they already would have been. Tony's gone deep through turn 8. Craggy's going to have a look down the inside. Tony's losing positions, yeah?
It's Casper.
Casper's through.
Casper's through. I think he's going to get past not 1 but 2. Casper's timed his strategy right here to perfection. Casper's up to 2nd, and he's already catching up to Callum.
Do you know what? I'm going to say this now. Obviously, Vesper Twin earlier came into the chat that said, make Williams great again. I'm just saying they could be on for a double podium right now.
They could. Maybe, because obviously Jay's got that 10-second penalty. Craigie and Tony, they're still not pitting. I think, was Kieran the one who made that? Kieran was one of the ones who made that perfect call, I think. And he's going to chase down Casper now. So Kieran could go for the win.
Yeah, and Entity, of course, was the one decided to come into the pits out of those that stayed out in the mediums.
But imagine if Entity came out the same time, pitted the lap or two later than Kieran. He could have been up there for the P3 on track.
He absolutely could have. And he's all over the back of Callum here. Entity, job done down the inside. And Callum's gone way, way wide there through turn 4. And yeah, these the dry tyres are just, they're gone.
Yeah, they've definitely gone right now, which is very, very annoying for the ones who stayed out. But for the ones who were on inters and came out at the perfect time, this is gold dust for these drivers. Casper has only got a few more corners to go. The start of the final sector. Casper needed a miracle, and he's definitely going to get one. He pitted at the right time, heading towards turn number 12. If he wants to get this win, he can't afford to make any mistakes. He exits New Holland corner, past the pit lane entry, heading towards the final corner. Casper wins in Spain, his second win in the top tier. Kieran winning a massive P2, and we got a double podium for Williams. That is fantastic. Now drops to 5th, Axel 4th, great result from him. But what a race for Casper, and what a race for Williams, Mike.
Yeah, it was said in the chat, make Williams great, and they done that again. Kieran and Entity.
And I'm sure Vespertine is very proud with that, very happy with that, because obviously he did very well. Both Williams did very well in P2. So I think it just goes to show the Williams pairing doing very well in both tiers as well. And yeah, Papa Sconch saying in the chat, heartbreak for the dry runners. Yes, definitely. Definitely. And Callum is definitely regretted it, but he still finished higher than any other dry runner. But it could have been higher. I know who my driver of the day is going to be already. But you're probably going to pick it. I've got 2 in mind, and I'm just hoping you pick one of them.
I am definitely picking one, and it was one of my predictions early on.
But we will decide in a minute. Callum wants to play NFS Drift right now. It felt like an Need for Speed Drift out there on the circuit for you. But the trophy is lifted for Casper, and he delivered. And that's going to help him very well in the drivers and also in the constructors. So Casper wins by 9/10 of a second to Kieran. If they had one more lap, they could have challenged, but no. Here we go. Casper from Kieran, from Entity, from Axelot, from Arnold, from Nick. Great result from him. Callum, what could have been, but still 7th. Cashman 8th, Conzo 9th, Tony 10th, Waitsy and Jaco 11th and 12th. Aluki gets the fastest lap, so at least he gets a point. And we got Barrett and Malvin. Malvin did not finish there. We got to pick our driver of the day. I think hopefully you pick hopefully you pick one of the drivers I'm going to pick, because otherwise I'm going to struggle. But anyway, Mike, who is your driver of the day, and what would you like to ask him?
My driver of the day is going to go to Entity.
I knew it.
Obviously, in terms of qualifying that, it was a very poor qualifying from you, Entity. But I wanted to know, was the... I'm going to need a good question here.
Don't worry, we have time. We have time.
Yeah. The question, Entity, is did you expect to be up there battling for the podium after such a poor qualifying by your standards?
That is a good question. I'm going to have to give it to Casper. Casper timed it right. He timed it right to go on those intermediate tyres, and that worked for him. So my question is, did you... I need to word my question right. It's not just you, Mike. I've got to do a bit of thinking. When you saw the medium tyre runners struggling, did you knew that you were going to win this race from that point? And how does it feel to get your second win in the top tier? So that is my question for Casper. And the drivers will be voting in the next few days on the poll on Discord. And that has been a very good race. I hope you all enjoyed it. Next week, we head to Portugal on the 13th of October. Nick's not going to be there, unfortunately, because he's in Malta, lucky him. But I'm definitely going to be there, and so is Mike. Portugal, another track where it needs quite a bit of downforce. So I would expect the likes of Casper to do very well there too.
Yeah, Casper has shown that he is very good at the high downforce circuits. And again, another fantastic result for him here in Spain. And with his teammate finishing down in 10th, Axlock up in 4th. Big points game for Axlock in the championship.
Yeah, exactly. I think Axelot, with Tony and Lukey not scoring very well, Axelot may jump into second again, which is definitely what he wants. And NC, I know, will climb up quite a bit. There's quite a few drivers that will benefit in terms of the drivers or constructors. So Portugal is going to be very interesting, so make sure you tune in. 13th of October will be the Portuguese Grand Prix at 7 o'clock UK time on Twitch. If you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Twitch, subscribe to us on YouTube at One Hub Racing, follow us on Instagram, X and TikTok at One Hub Racing, where you get notified when we go live. You can also catch the P2 tier on every Sunday night at 5 PM with Nick and Colin on commentary. But since Nick's not going to be here, I don't know who's going to join Colin in the commentary box. We will figure that out nearer the time. But for myself and Mike, thanks to all our sponsors. Thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks to those of you that are keeping us company in the chat. I do appreciate it. But we will see you same time next week for the Portuguese Grand Prix. And hopefully it'll be just as good as this. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.